I grew up in the UP, about 10 miles away from the nearest town. My parents were new Christians and brought that into the home from a young age, so we always went to church, and I found and accepted Christ when I was about 11. Didn't have a lot of social interaction with my peers growing up, and found it hard to make new relationships and friends. Christ was the first friend that I really had in my life, and he gave me joy and peace. Being bullied made it hard for me to connect with people and trust them and want to develop those relationships. And I had a lot of coping behaviors that helped me outside of school to take my time, like video games or eating. A new one came into my life as I entered puberty, which was pornography. It kind of was a sin that grew in the background. As I went through high school, I became acquaintances with people and grew some friendships, but never very deeply. Going to college was very difficult because all of the relationships I had built were suddenly gone as I didn't know anyone. I found myself turning to coping behaviors more. I kind of had the perspective that I was in control of these things, and I really wasn't, because I recognized I had those issues, and then I kept going back to it and I couldn't stop. And I knew I needed God. I think for one of the first times I earnestly prayed for his help in that issue. And beginning of 2018, I met with a friend, and he mentioned that, oh, hey, there's a Woodside Dearborn campus. I've heard it's pretty good. For whatever reason, I felt like really drawn. It was probably the Holy Spirit. And at that point, I was like, okay, I can't make my own self-decision anymore. I have to trust God. The next Sunday, I went to Woodside Dearborn. I just remember feeling hopeful about, this is a place I could see myself going to. The pastor, Dave, and I talked for a little bit and got to know each other, and yeah, they mentioned that they're doing a prayer night. Felt the Holy Spirit again speaking, you should go to that prayer night. And I'm like, oh, wow, that doesn't sound fun, but okay, I'll trust you again, God. So a couple weeks later, I attended the prayer meeting at Dave's house. I just felt very, very led by the Holy Spirit to speak out and say that I struggled with sexual sin. It was one of those things that I didn't ever expect to say, especially to people that I didn't even really know that well. I was really worried that I was going to be judged or shamed or kind of pushed aside for being gross and engaging in that. Instead of feeling that, I felt just accepted and loved by not only the people around me, but most importantly by God. And I was like, okay, God, you're guiding through the Holy Spirit is amazing, and I'm going to follow you on this journey. And as I got to talk more with Dave, I got involved in a recovery group. As the year went on, I saw some victory against pornography and against binge eating and these other issues, but I realized I still struggled with body image and with accepting myself and how I looked and how I felt about myself. There was a series at Woodside called Remind Me that really presented God as a loving Father that actually values us for who we are and not the mistakes or the paths we choose, but who we are intrinsically as the children that He's made. And it really struck a chord with my heart and allowed me to open up to myself and not only forgive myself, but to look forward into the future. So that confidence helped me to defeat social anxiety that I felt in social situations, and to be better at work, to be better in my life, and to really begin to trust God more with myself and who I was.